Right, news across the globe. Ukrainian forces continues ground attacks on the left bank of Kherson Oblast then advanced on the 29th of November. Russian sources claim that Ukrainian forces advanced southwest of Kinky, 30 kilometers northeast of the city of Kherson and 2 kilometers from the Dnipro River and gained ground in the nearby forest area. Russian military bloggers claimed that fighting is ongoing near the Kiniki and Russian aircraft artillery are striking that area. The General Staff of Ukraine reported that Ukrainian troops were holding positions on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River. Russian military bloggers claim that Ukrainian troops continue to deploy new assault groups to the left bank and that 300 to 400 Ukrainian fighters were operating near the Kiniki.
Well, still on Ukraine-Russian war, Ukraine strikes Russian aircraft factory 200 miles behind enemy line. Now, attack appears to have been part of a wave of 35 drones Ukraine launched in retaliation to a Russian strike over the weekend. A Ukrainian drone has struck a Russian aircraft factory more than 200 miles behind enemy lines. Ukraine's military intelligence agency, the HUR, claimed responsibilities for the explosion at the Smolensk aviation factory. Footage of the blast shows plumes of black smoke billowing up from the plant, which also produces Kh-59 cruise missiles. Now, Baza, a Russian telegram channel with links to the military, said two drones were drowned over the factory, one of which crashed into the roof and exploded. It said there were no casualties. This is the second time Ukraine has sent drones to attack the factory. A previous raid in October caused widespread damage to production lines.
Well, there will be no pause in Biden's headache over the Israel Hamas war. Now, a 48-hour extension to the Israel Hamas truce will not pause the strategic dilemmas and political headaches racking the Biden administration over the war. Although the 2 extra days of hostage releases, the releases of the Palestinian prisoners, and the humanitarian aid pouring into Gaza validate an intense diplomatic effort in which the U.S. is deeply involved, the situation remains delicate and a resolution and resumption of fighting ultimately seems likely. The most urgent question facing the White House is where are the Americans? Despite hopes that at least three US citizens would be released during the original 4 day pause, only orphaned 4-year-old American Israeli girl Abigail Adan came out of Gaza to the deep disappointment of US officials.
Well, North Korea's first satellite, no threat to U.S. Navy. North Korea's first satellite launch in photographing critical U.S. allied military and civilian centers does not give Pyongyang's elementary surveillance capabilities, but does not significantly or decisively threaten the U.S. Navy, experts believe. Now, Pyongyang would instead need a host of other satellites and space launch capabilities to credibly shift the military balance in it, and is far from being a space power. This does not mean the country's general military capabilities should be underestimated, especially given how it has introduced a series of new ballistics missiles, drones, cruise missiles, and submarine.
Meanwhile, Hamas says it's ready to swap all detained Israeli soldiers for Palestinian prisoners. Gaza released about 240 captives from the southern Israel in an unprecedented October 7 attacks that Israel officials say killed around 1,200 people, most of them civilians. A helicopter carrying two Israeli Russian hostages taken by Hamas militants on the 7th of October attack and released on the 29th of November 2023 lands on the Sheba Medical Center in Ramad, General Hamas said on the 29th of November. Well, it had released two women hostages with Russian citizenships in the Gaza Strip as a truce held between Israel and the Islamist movement in the Palestinian territory. A senior Hamas official said on Wednesday that the Israeli movement was ready to release all the Israeli soldiers it is holding captive in exchange for all Palestinian prisoners held in Israel amid negotiations to extend a truce over Gaza. Hamas officials and former Gaza Health Minister Basim Naim said the group was going through hard negotiations to extend their cessation of hostilities that was scheduled to end nearly on Thursday after a 6-day pause in fighting. Now, coming up next is the sports news. Gab Ellison has a lot in stock for us.